Welcome back to another episode of the 9.8 podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Langworthy. On this week, we have a very special guest. You know, as we do every week, we have a very special guest, but this one is Eric Frasure. He is a genuine OG of the sport. He's been around a long time. We're talking 20 plus years involved in the Highland Games. And in his time competing in the Highland Games, he has set multiple world records. In the heavyweight, spinning wob, heavy hammer, as an amateur. And there are so many of his records are still standing today, which is quite impressive. And he's got a fun take. We talk about interesting stuff that we don't normally get to bring up on the show. Very insightful guy, and I hope you enjoy it. But first, before we get into that, let's talk about my games. The Free State Highland Games in Lawrence, Kansas, October 18th. It's going to be quite the fun shindig. We've got a very interesting list of pros that are coming out to compete. So if you're interested in seeing that, come out. If you're interested in competing alongside them, again, come on out. Sign up is on heavyathlete.com. There is a note here that when you're signing up on heavyathlete.com, I can't talk right, heavyathlete.com, make sure you go through the entire process of filling out the registration. There's been some instances recently where people are cutting it halfway and thinking that they're in, but make sure you go all the way through it. You'll get emails verifying that you have, done everything correctly and now you're in the games, and then you can double verify by going to the website and looking at the games page or your own personal page on Heavy Athlete. And that'll tell you that you have actually signed up. So don't sleep on that. Please get the sign-ins, the registration in quickly. I love to see them. As of right now, we have spots in all classes still available. So if you're interested in coming out, we will love to have you. We have space for you for now. So don't wait. Please don't wait. On that note, let's get into the episode. Here's Eric Frasure. Live is the worst thing. But yeah, we're just going to run through pretty much kind of how you got your sporting background, or how you came up and into the games, and then we'll kind of just talk about where you've been, where you're at now, and how you get to crush it for so long.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you, what do you do? Just start with an intro and then start asking questions?
No, pretty much. This is it. I will do. Yeah, I'm going to do a little quick segment where I run through some informational stuff beforehand, and then it just kind of jumps right into what we're talking about right now.
All right.
And I just find a nice little place to cut it.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. So it's been a while. I think last time we saw each other was in Mississippi, right?
Yeah,
at
man.
The Backyard Rebellions Open.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah.
That's where, fortunately and unfortunately, because the format they had last year was really good, but that's where Masters Worlds will be this year, which is great because that was an awesome venue. But I mean, the Pro-Am event was really fun last year. So
yeah, I think the group of guys we had in that Pro-Am was it was very fun. It's a shame though that Maine and Mississippi were the two Pro-Ams that I went to, and I liked them. I got to throw different guys I don't normally get a throw with, and is just super low pressure. And now both of them are doing some form of a world championship, but
it's a lot of drive. Cool. It's a lot of drive time for you, though, isn't it?
Yeah, dude. I'm the road warrior. I'm not afraid of being behind the wheel.
Yeah, that's a lot of travel, man.
I like it. I mean, I get to see everything. And I don't like flying in planes. Not because I'm scared to fly. It's just the fact that I don't get to control all aspects of my travel. Like when I'm driving, like it's up to me what I want to do, where I want to go. I don't get stuck with what the airport or pilot or whoever is in charge of the situation. Yeah.
Well, they're less likely to lose your bags if it's just you in the car, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's like my biggest fear is that like they're going to lose my games bag or break my fork, which they've done. Luckily, they didn't break it like too bad. I was able to repair it. But just the fear of like losing my cleats, my tape, and like my kilt, stuff like that goes in the carry-on. Because like I can get by with just those essentials and like just bum everything else if I need to. But I also like my fork a lot, and I just don't want them to lose it like permanently, because like that happens, like stuff just disappears, and I don't want that to happen. But enough about that. let's let's get into like how you got started. Well, first, before we get to how you got started in the games, like I want to know, and I think everyone else wants to know, what your like sporting background is. Like, how'd you get to be the freak athlete that you are?
I lifted weights as a kid. I did your usual. I played a little bit of like middle school football, but I started Highland Games at 14 years old in 1999.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I started going to Highland Games in 1997. Lots of Scottish blood in our family. Always was drawn to the throwing events, watching the events. I was like, man, every time I went to a game, I was like, how do you try that? And they were always like, get out of here, man, you're a kid. And then I went to a Highland game in Clover, South Carolina in June of 1999 after I finished my 8th grade year before going into freshman year of high school. And Kay Cummings was there. It used to be the SSAAA back in the day. That was the predecessor to the group called Shag now in the Southeast. And Kay Cummins saw me and he's like, how old are you? I was like 14. He's like, you're a big boy. And I'm like, well, okay. He's like, so you want to try this? I was like, yes, sir, that'd be cool. He's like, you got a kilt? I was like, no, sir. He's like, we can get you one. You got a parent with you? I'm like, yeah, my dad's here. He's like, well, get him to sign a waiver. I'll let you try it. So I fell all over the place. Almost got killed by the caber. They put me in the paper for doing the game. I've still got the clipping from it, the little Clover paper, because I was a little kid out there doing it. But I wasn't that little. I was like 6 foot or 6'1". I was about 185 or 90 pounds.
Yep.
And then after I did that first game, I'd already had a weightlifting background, believe it or not. So I just dug in where they have the Loch Norman Highland Games in Huntersville, North Carolina. There's the group up there is called Royal Hill Farm. That's like the society that runs it. They had all the throwing equipment. So my dad and I would go after the Clover game, and we reached out to them. They said, yeah, if you guys want to help volunteer here, we'll let you borrow the equipment when you're out here volunteering. So we'd help them do some maintenance stuff on the field before we got our own equipment, and we practiced there. Later that year, I did the Clan, it used to be called the Clan Challenge at Stone Mountain Highland Games. That was basically just you threw a 42-pound weight for distance, and you threw that. They had this giant, like bowling ball-sized stone there. It looked like something out of the Flintstones. But you threw those two things. I won a medal, so I thought I was the man.
Oh yeah.
And I just kept training. I was addicted to it. Went to a clinic Larry Satchwell had put on at the Royal Hill Farm where Loch Norman is. Did his clinic 2 years in a row. I still call him Coach. one of my first Highland Game coaches. There was another guy named Tom Blythe. He was involved in helping put on events. He was a world record holder in the Sheaf and the Masters at one time. And I practiced at his house. He lived down the road from me. He set up a little throwing area for me and my dad. Like, we'd go train. Turned my first caber in his backyard. I cleared 30 feet in the Sheaf for the first time in his backyard. By the time I was 15, I won the B division at the Radford Highland Games. They had no teenage division back then. By the time I was 16, I hit 41 feet for the first time in the heavyweight for distance at Grandfather Mountain. I hit like 45 feet for the first time at 18 years old in the heavyweight for distance. Nice. I mean, when I was 20, I had the farthest throw in the history of the sport at like 49 feet 8 inches. I did that when I was athlete at East Carolina, and that was my third day in a row throwing. Yeah, that Friday night I threw hammer at University of Tennessee at night. That Saturday afternoon, late morning, we threw discus at UNC Chapel Hill. Went back to East Carolina, where Greenville is, and I had packed all my Highland Game gear, got back in the car and drove 4 hours back to Charlotte. Got home about 2 in the morning. Got to the field at Loch Norman, and one of my friends looked at me while I was on the field the day I hit the world record, and I was like, man, I don't feel right today. I feel goofy. He's like, you look pretty goofy. And he was, I mean, I was all over the place, and I was like, man, I better just really relax and just try to get a throw in. So, like, my first throw, I think, was like 38 feet or something like that, and I was like, all right, that's good. My next throw was like 44 or 45, and I'm like, that was weird. Maybe they measured wrong. Then my next throw was like 48, 48, 49, and I'm like, what is going on? Is this real? I threw it over the guy that was marking.
No kidding.
Yeah. And it was the day after Ryan Vieira had broken the world record in the heavyweight. So he held the world record for like 24 hours.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's generally pretty nuts.
And I did it as an amateur. That's not supposed to happen. But I think, like, when people ask me about, like, how I was able to do all that stuff, like, I'm not like a freak athlete. I mean, I'm wired to be a strength athlete, but I think it's the insane amount of practices I did growing up, like, while my body was still growing and developing. Because while my body is growing into a man, I'm doing a man's sport, and I'm training with a man's implements. And I think a lot of it's a nervous system adaptation.
Yeah, so like that kind of answers some questions that I have, because I didn't know you started throwing so young.
26 years ago.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the things you can do, because you've taken time off. You had a break there for like 8 years, right?
I retired in 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You came back. I would say with really not missing much. Like you jumped right back in it, not far off from where you've ever been. Like, that's a hard thing to do. I know if I were to stop throwing for 8 years and I were to jump back in it, I would not be throwing what I'm throwing right now, anywhere close to it.
Yeah, I mean, the best I can explain is it's a nervous system adaptation. Like, it's like most people grow up, swinging a golf club or, playing hockey or something like that. Like, when my body was growing and developing, I was learning to spin with a 56, how to throw a heavy hammer, how to throw a caber, how to, like, and I mean, when I practiced, like, I would be out there for hours as a teenager. I didn't go to prom. I didn't go to my prom because I could go to a Highland game. I did not care. I did not. Yeah, I did not care about a social. I did not care about a social life. I wanted to be out there throwing. That's all I cared about. That was my outlet. If I wasn't doing that, I was in the gym or I was working.
Yeah. In the world of autism, we call that a special interest.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably some sort of high functioning ADHD or something involved in that, because I've done the same thing academically. I've got 3 master's degrees. I'm working on a 4th.
Okay, so that's nuts.
Yeah. So if I'm like interested in something, I can dive deep and I can keep my focus for a long time, which is, I mean, I'm not diagnosed with it, but it's on that scale of a high functioning something, some sort of neuro, what do they call it? Neurodiversity
Divergent.
Neurodivergent. Some kind of stuff like that. But no, it's
well, in like you mentioned like growing up and throwing a man sport, and I think that's like there's a lot of truth to that, and it's kind of a shame that people don't find the Highland Games until they're, the earliest people find it generally it's like 25, but more likely just based on the last couple of years, people are finding it when they're masters or almost to 40. Like that's when they start throwing.
Well, not every like teenage kid is going to appreciate it and love it.
That's true.
And I think as whatever point in your life you find it is when you were supposed to find it. And that's why I think an athlete or a master's athlete or somebody that has a dream of doing it professionally, I think that's why they get addicted to it, because there's something in them that connects with that me against me kind of mindset, and that inner growth that comes from overcoming doubts and fears and injuries and all these things. Like these are things that are easy to get addicted to because they make you a more well-rounded, stronger, resilient person, and I think it bleeds back into our professional lives, how we treat our families, those kind of things, because you get to a point to where there's a calm confidence that comes from that ability to overcome and adapt and grow, and there's a humility that has to come from that too, because you have to accept that other people might have a perspective that can help you. Even if you have thrown farther or you've lifted more, they may see something in you a perspective or a blind spot maybe you've missed in your training or how you approach an event that can fundamentally change how you view it. And that's part of that addiction, is there's always a different way of seeing it. And I think that's why a lot of people that throw for a long time begin coaching in it, because they learn so many different perspectives over the years, and it's like, man, I can fast track this for somebody else because I struggled through that, or hit the wall for so long, and then one day someone says, like, think about pulling your pants up when you're throwing the weight for height, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I get triple extension now. It's like the dumbest thing. Like you imagine jumping off the bed and pulling up your jeans to get dressed. It's like when you hit that pull position. I learned that from Willie Danzer. I mean, it's just this silly cue, and you do it, and you're like, huh, that really works well. That's a much easier way of thinking of it.
Pulling up your pants.
Yeah, a little hip hinge, and that's it. Yeah. But I will say, as far as like coming back, it was very emotional, but getting in the gym and having some guidance and having somebody to train with, like training with Adrian, training with Katie and Kayshawn and all the people I train with down here in South Carolina, going up and throwing with Derek Wilcox sometimes, like having people to surround yourself with, it really helps to knock the rust off a little easier. But then, like Willie Danzer, starting to write my programming this year in the gym, and doing stuff in the gym I didn't think I could do. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just it's just really interesting how under the right conditions your body can respond in a healthy way. Like, I'm not going to say my joints don't ache a little bit, but I feel better at 40 than I did at 32 when I retired.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's a matter of training with a better plan.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like it's kind of nice when like you do your own programming and stuff for so long, and then you hit a plateau or something like that. You just pass it on to someone else, and they're making you do stuff that you're like, I don't want to do it, and two, like I don't see how this is going to help or whatever. And then you do it enough, and you're like, oh, okay, well, turns out I'm better now. Like that's good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like when I would work out with Adrienne, like she would show like some hip mobility stuff or some different things for your back or some different stretches I'd never tried, and I was like, well, that seems weird. Then I do it, and I'm like, oh, my back feels better. And it's the same thing with like Willie's programming. Like, my idea of programming was, I'm going to lift something heavy for my legs today, or I'm going to lift something heavy on a pull, or I'm going to, like, it wasn't, even being like a former D1 athlete and having an exercise science background, I'm like, I'll just feel my way through it. There was no structure. Mm-hmm. But when Willie started programming and he started putting these just random mobility exercises and things with bands and all this stuff I do at the beginning, I'm like, man, I feel silly doing this in front of people. And by God, like when I'd go to work out, like after that, a few minutes into the session, like my nervous system's firing, my hips and knees and stuff are feeling good. Like my body's ready to move, and it's just, I frankly just felt kind of dumb. Like, why wasn't I was too proud probably to take a coach before I retired. Because I thought I was better than I was. But I think had I had the humility that it took to come back then, and I leaned on people like Willie, like Adrienne to train with, I could have had a different experience. And it's just I think the people you surround yourself with, the attitude you have to training, keeping a sense of curiosity, I think is huge. Being willing to listen to people that have less experience just to maybe get a different perspective is a big deal.
And it's really easy to sit there like in your ivory tower and be like, well, I know everything, like I don't need help, especially from you or whoever, right? It's a crazy amount of humility to like kind of come off of that, and maybe you'll pick a cue up like pulling your pants up for WOB or something like that.
Yeah. It's and what's funny, like you can be a smaller person with a different genetic profile, different potential, right? And you can be a more technically proficient athlete than the best guy on the planet. And it's like, who would I rather listen to about technique? Someone that's just freakishly strong and 300 plus pounds, or do I want to listen to the guy that's 185 and is moving in an optimal way to throw as far as his body will let him? Who's going to be the better person to give me feedback on the event? I'll take the 185 pound guy. Right.
Yeah. And like, this is what I tell people, and I've probably talked about it just even in the last episode, is that like, when I originally like got up to like 250 pounds, like I was very strong for myself, like that's probably the strongest I've ever been. And but I wasn't throwing well. It didn't take, like I didn't learn how to throw until I lost 50 pounds and started throwing as a lightweight for 2 years. And like I learned actually how to do a thing. And because like you can't fake it when you're 200 pounds. Like you actually have to learn how to do it correctly. And it opened my eyes to a ton of different techniques and like methodologies that like I would never have figured out beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, I spent like towards the end of my law enforcement career, I spent some time in jiu-jitsu, and it's the same thing. Like the way a 130 to 175 pound person has to operate on the mat versus someone that's 240, 250, 260 going against them, it's very different because you can try to bull rush, but that brute strength will get you hurt against somebody that knows what they're doing that size, because they've learned not to waste energy against bigger opponents and they do things the right way.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of parallels between what you're describing and that. Just, you don't have the mass to counter with or to muscle it with, so you have to learn to counter correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's pivot here. You mentioned Larry Satchwell earlier, and he was there like when you started. I want to thank that guy. I've never met him. I want to thank him so much for like putting stuff on YouTube all those years ago. Because like when you first come to the sport, like he's one of the first things that pops up, because like he'll have full games like just posted on his YouTube channel, along with him making birdhouses and other random shit. And I watched all of it.
Well, he's like the highest level USATF throws coach. I think whatever the international track and field one in, he's the highest level of that. It's 4 or 5 levels. I think USATF's 3.
Yeah.
He's coached and programmed for countless student athletes, countless Highland Games athletes over the years. His knowledge of the sport is absolutely insane. When I was coming up, he made VHS tapes and sold them for people to study film, and he would break down and narrate and explain like what the different elite guys were doing back then. He's just always been doing stuff that contributes to the growth and development of others, and he was a great athlete when he competed, but he's a coach at heart, and he's always gotten a kick out of encouraging people. And like when he's announcing at like Grandfather Mountain, there have been times I'd be out there on the field and he would announce cues to me to the crowd, and he would be like, all right, well, if Eric can get his left down a little later on this next throw and open his hips up, he's going to let a big one go. And then I'm like, oh, thanks, coach. I go and take my next throw, and it's better, and he's like,
That's
he's
best.
a cool dude. Yeah.
I've had announcers do that for me. Like in Wichita, we'd have like Dan Tennyson do announcing, and what he needs to do is just be over his left a little bit more on the next one. I'm like,
yeah,
thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah. I mean, like this. I mean, even this past weekend, my first time back at Grandfather Mountain competing since 2016. Like, I didn't feel right in the sheath, and I'm supposed to be okay at it. And I look at Larry, and I'm like, can I borrow you? And I walk over to him when he kind of like covers the mic up, and I'm like, what do you think, coach? And I told him like what I thought I should do, like a hybrid of the last 2 throws. He's like, yeah. And then I, just try to stay longer and it should work out. Clear the next height by a bunch. And it was just, like I'm never too proud to ask that man for advice. So
I like that. What age exactly did you start lifting? Was that at 14 as well? Because you said you had a weightlifting background.
No. I started lifting probably like 9 or 10 years old.
Okay.
I benched 225 for the first time when I was 12.
Nice.
I competed in AAU powerlifting in 1999 and 2000. So I kind of started Highland Games and powerlifting at the same time. Because basically what happened is my dad, he was a truck driver, and he only saw me on weekends. And he comes home one weekend to get me on my weekend with him, and I'm in the garage working out, and he's like, how much weight is on the bar right now? And he had a powerlifting background in the Air Force. And he's like, is that 225? I'm like, oh yeah, I just hit it the other day at my uncle's house. He's like, dude, that's not normal for a 12-year-old. I was like, I don't know.
That's not.
I'm just angry, so I want to lift it. But yeah, I mean, another thing that happened is in 2000 there was a strongman truck pull competition, and it was a full tractor and trailer, like sleeper cab and everything. It was at the Mack Truck dealership, and it was like put on by this. I think his name was John Wooten. He was like this way back in the day strongman, like pre-Kazmaier era days. And so it comes on the TV, and I'm like, well, that looks interesting. I think I want to try that. And my dad's like, are you serious? You're going to get hurt. I tell my mom about it, and she's like, if you really want to do it, worst thing you can do is not pull it. So she enters me in it. My dad takes me. There's a video of it on YouTube. I pulled that truck at 15, and I qualified to come back the second day. Like I beat guys. Now I wasn't small. I was still probably like 235, 240 at 15. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different kind of nervous system.
Yeah.
Like speed. I don't know. It just like Bert Soren and his dad Richard used to have me come down to Sorenex back in the day, and I would train with them and stuff. I would do random grip stuff. I would do some crazy exercises. I did like 1,001 pound Zercher lockout one time. Just yeah, we can put a shout out to Bert and see if they can find the footage and put it back on YouTube. But I mean, I cleaned I shouldered the. It's not like a technical clean. I kind of use my knee, but I got the Thomas Inch to my shoulder one handed. I picked up the circus dumbbell one handed. Like that's not normal stuff. I mean, for someone that doesn't train with it, it's not normal.
Yeah, for a non-strong man.
Yeah, and I don't have super long hands either. Like I have pretty average length hands. They're thick, but they're not.
I don't know. That looks pretty big on camera. So.
it's a bear paw. Yeah.
But you mentioned being over 200 pounds at 15, which like I just can't even fathom that, because I didn't get over 200 pounds until I was like 21 years old. Which
yeah,
we are built different.
Yeah, I mean, it's my bone. Like my bone structure is just big.
Yeah.
Like if I have to work really hard to keep weight off. Like I don't eat that much for someone my size. Like if I think about eating a Snickers bar and think about the gym, I'll gain weight. Like it, and I'm not like I don't get like jacked looking muscular. I just get farm boy big, and it's just like I just much rather look like a Nick Aston or a Matt Sanford or Bert Soren, one of those guys that's got the leaner, longer build that look more like Olympic hammer throwers. I'd much rather be built like that. But I'm part grizzly,
to be as tall
I guess.
as them.
Height helps.
That'd be nice.
Yeah,
being 6 foot's not great.
I'd take any of those guys' height at 6'6", 6'7".
I want to start throwing in platform shoes just to gain a couple inches.
Just don't roll your ankle.
See, what's funny is like I was perusing like something online that came across like I don't know, I call them goth girl boots, right? They are like knee-high leather boots.
Yeah.
The platform was like 8 inches, and they're like rainbow, like leather and rainbowed all the way up. And I was like, I said to my buddies, I was like, new wob shoes, because like, I mean that's 6 inches higher. That's a PR right there. If I can get one.
Just spin. just spin. Don't worry about it.
I don't think I am heavy enough to spin. I would really want to, but the 56 at 250, 245, like just doesn't feel like enough weight to spin it.
I hit 19 feet in Chicago in like 2005 or 6 at a body weight of, I was probably around 260, 265.
We're different.
Yeah, but I had Sean Betts coaching me. That's the first day I spun, and he showed me how to do it right. And when you're throwing wob with Sean Betts out there, and he's one of the best at that event. I mean,
Yeah.
he just kept coaching me. He didn't care. He didn't care how high I went. He just kept coaching me.
Yeah.
I really miss that guy.
His name, what's funny is his name comes up a lot on this podcast. I've had a couple of instances. I ran into a guy in person, and he's talking about how, like, oh yeah, he used to throw with Sean Betts back in the day. I was just at the park throwing, and he's like name dropping a bunch of people, and I was like, oh, so you are familiar with this, like, because no one else is. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like, Sean, Dan McKim, Harrison Bailey, Mike Pekoski. I mean, those are all, like, I mean, that's the short list, but there were a bunch of just really fun dudes to train and compete with back in the day.
Yeah.
Harrison was one of my favorite people to throw with. Sean and Dan McKim always ran Bible studies at 2-day events that Sunday morning.
Yeah.
You know, Bert Zorn was really fun to throw with back in the day before he had like a blood clot thing that happened because of an injury, and he could have died, so he decided it was time
I saw him
focus on
talking
his
about
health.
that, which
Yeah.
just sounds like a bummer.
Yeah. Well, now that I live in South Carolina, I'm like 20 minutes from Soronex, so I see those guys at least every other week.
So you're going to get Bert back into it. That's what I hear.
I have nudged him, and he just looks at me. He's like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah.
But
I'm sure
he's having
doing other stuff.
he's having a lot of fun. You know, promoting just people in the strength community, and continuing to grow their brand, and honoring his dad's memory. He's been doing a lot of the blob training and the grip stuff lately. A lot of the people in there at the facility have been experimenting with that stuff and posting videos. I mean, it's all right there underneath Richard Soren's, you know, memorabilia, and it's right in that like museum area. Sometimes I go there and train grip stuff with Tex and some of the other guys. I mean, there's very few places like that have that much history in them, where you've had so many different legends of different strength-related sports walk through there, and NFL athletes, and world-class bodybuilders, and Kazmaier, and you name it. Like, it's just it's very humbling to walk in there.
Well, and that's what I appreciate about Soronex so much, and Bert, and what his dad have done. It's like they love strength culture, and I'm here for it. We don't get enough of that, and it's I love it when I see it.
Well, and I mean, when I was younger, like, they did a lot of stuff for me. They didn't have to, like, expose me to things that were kind of cutting edge, like Tendo units and different things you could do with TheraBands and stuff like that. They didn't have to take me under their wing. Like, honestly, I kind of took it for granted. And, like, in hindsight, I'm like, you little prick. Like, you should have been thanking them so much for all the things they exposed you to. And I was a jerk. But, I mean, they have done that for so many athletes. They've made a home for so many people to grow and develop. And if you ever get a chance to go to, like, Winter Strong or Summer Strong, like those events, you meet some really incredible people. I mean, you meet everything from folks that have been in the special forces, or been, first responder, experts in tactical medicine, or people that are survivalists, or, it could be a world-class strength coach, or you might run into like a neuroscientist there. Like, it's just so random, the conversations you can have at those events. And the one consistent theme is they don't have any jerks there. Like, those people get weeded out real quick. And I mean, Krauser was there at Summer Strong this year, doing the World Shot Put Series stuff. Like, Bert asked me if I wanted to help judge it. I didn't really do anything. I just kind of stood there. They knew their thing. Yeah. But, like, and then freaking, I talked to Krauser that morning, and I'm like, hey, man, like, I got this kid Hunter that I coach at at the high school back home, and I'm still working with him. He's like a surrogate kid, surrogate child, and he's doing his one of his competitions today. Would you be comfortable doing a shout out for him? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Hunter, you said? I'm like, yep. He's like, yeah, pull your phone out. And he's like, you don't have to do a picture. I'll do a shout out for him. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I send him a video. This is a high school athlete throwing shot and discus. That's the world's his oyster, basically. However hard he wants to train, and you have you have the best that has ever done the sport. Ever done it, that has spoken your name and wished you good luck on your day.
Yeah.
Like that's the quality of. I mean, that's like being a teenage power lifter and Bill Kazmaier doing a shout out for you. You know what I mean? Or it's like, okay, I'll watch that again before I take my last breath.
That's PR fuel right there.
Yeah, like. I mean, that's just that when you like that kind of stuff happening is so humbling. Like, Lee Haney spoke at the event. I mean, he's a legendary bodybuilder, multiple time Mr. Olympia. Like, shook his hand, and he was just a gentle, sweet. He's like a guy that you'd sit in Bible study with. You're just like, okay, one of the best to ever do the sport. All right, got it. It's really cool, man.
Yeah, I would love to make it out there one of these days, especially for Summer Strong. Like, the little nuggets of information that you could just pull from every one of those speakers is insane.
Yeah. I mean, because I went to Winter Strong, that's how I ended up speaking at UNC Charlotte. The strength coaches invited me to talk to their entire football team about men's health issues and mental health. So I spoke a few months ago. I did a PowerPoint presentation. They had medical staff there, everybody, and spoke in front of 150 plus people. And that opportunity came from going to Winter Strong and having beers after the event and having honest conversations with people. And they're like, man, it's a great story. I'd love for you to tell that. I'm like, oh, okay, where do you mean to tell it? How about in front of our football team in Charlotte? I'm like, oh, yeah, here's my number. So,
do you feel comfortable like doing that, like speaking in front of like big groups?
I had never done it before. When I finished, they were like, man, that was great. I was like, okay. And they're like, so how many of these have you done? I was like, this is my first one. They're like, oh, you seem comfortable. But I mean, having the, I mean, you just say a prayer before you do it, and it's like, you're like, in my mind, like there might have been 150 or so people in there, but statistically, I was talking to about 4 or 5 people,
right?
People that were a true, genuine risk to themselves in the future if they don't have this information, or a loved one. So when I had that mindset, it was just like talking to you. I just talked to the audience, and at the end, they had a lot more questions than I expected. I figured teenagers, early 20s guys were going to be checked out. They were asking questions.
Yeah.
And I had several athletes come up to me after and ask a lot more stuff. So I had one of the kids texted me after. One of the linemen, offensive linemen, texted me because I put my number up there in case anybody needed anything. I still talk to the strength coaches, still check in with them. It's cool stuff, man.
Yeah, I like that. I just think of, like, if I was ever in a position where, like, I got to talk to a group of 150 people, I don't know, my nerves would probably get the better of me.
Well, if you tell yourself the words you say may save someone's life, it takes the pressure off. Like,
yeah.
if you got one, like, basically, like, the way I looked at it was I had one chance to get this point across. And there was at least 1 or 2 people in the room that either knew somebody that was going to be in crisis at some point, or could be in crisis themselves, or could have been a teammate. Mm-hmm. But for all of them to be equipped with that knowledge going into it, I mean, they learned a lot. And I felt like I was rambling, and they're like, no, you could have said more. And I'm like, seriously? Like, but it was it's. I mean, it's kind of like throwing, right? Like when you have put the work in, and you know what you're there to do. Like it's you are nervous initially, but you're not. Once you get going, like you're calling, like Merle Lawless. I don't know if you know Merle. He's like he's like a surrogate dad, and he's been a mentor of mine for 10 plus years. But Merle has spoke at events, and he was in the trade show industry for like 40 years for a company called Excel Decorators, and for years he's, we've talked books, he's shared stories he's learned, and his experiences. And when I had that event coming up, he's like, it's about time. I've been trying to get you to do one of these things for a while. So he gives me advice before I go. He's one of the first people I called when I got out of there. It's just, again, it's who you surround yourself with and who you lean on. So
Merle has, and I know I've talked about this before, but I want to talk about it again because I need everyone to watch it. That video of him throwing two sheaves over two different standards.
Yeah.
And like, again, when I first heard it, I was like, no, okay, like it can't be cool. Sure enough, it's one of the coolest videos ever. Because like the standards, like it's not low, they're high. Like it's like you made two good pulls at the same time. Yeah. And I think it's on YouTube. I don't know what the video title's called, but if anyone wants to watch it, you can go to the Ancient Athletics website. They've got I think it's their resources page or something like that. There's a bunch of videos. It's in there. Like, just look for it. It's cool.
Yeah, he did he did another feat of strength. He did, it was something crazy, like 15, 20 something reps or more with 315 in a certain period of time. And I'm like, that's nuts, Merle. Like, yeah. But yeah, he's another one. He's like, just like Larry Satchwell, always behind the scenes, encouraging, helping, guiding, supporting. I hope I'm that cool one day.
Yeah. It's something we can all aspire to be.
I'm telling you though, like that, like Merle is probably one of the best friends I've ever had.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only met Merle like one or two times, and it was always at a games. One, he was running, so he was busy, and he was at Mississippi when we were there, and again busy.
He was our judge. Yeah.
Yeah. He was doing stuff.
I mean, he helped Danny Webster kind of get started, and kind of gave him Merle kind of gave him his playbook to grow off of, and I mean, you look at how Danny runs stuff, man, and he runs a tight ship. Like it's his games are very well run, and he models everything after. A lot of what he does, he models after Merle, and Merle's this guy spent 40 years in the trade show industry, like setting up conventions. So like he is a very detail oriented guy. Like he thinks of everything. It's wild.
Yeah, that I had to write a note down. I gotta get in touch with Merle.
I'll text you his number after this.
I would appreciate it. Yeah. Because I have some questions.
Yeah, he'd be a great one to interview, man. He's probably one of the wisest human beings I've ever known. Like, he and I we have helped each other through some of the toughest times of our lives. Like, like he went through a hard time when his wife was sick. You know, I've been through some hard times, and we have always been able to lean on each other since we became friends. I never lost touch with him when I retired. So,
and that's like what kind of the beauty of like Highland Games is as a whole, is that there's so many of those people that you can find in this community, and I don't know, it can't be understated, the value of that.
I mean, it's really rare. I mean, you'll meet a lot of people that are too proud to see yet.
Right.
But you can, I mean, you can build some incredibly authentic relationships, like Todd Van Vleck. Like, been a therapist for over 30 years.
Yeah.
Agreed to mentor me when I started my counseling program.
Nice.
Like, just, you don't know who you know. There's a, I don't know. At its core, the Highland Game community has a kindred spirit and a humility to it. It just, because I in my time, like leaving, coming back, I mean, I've seen some changes, but when I see the big personalities and all the showboaty stuff, like, when they're gone, they're gone. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but they have no heartfelt connection to this. They're in this to get what they can out of it, to promote themselves, then they're gone.
Which, this is the weirdest thing to do that with.
Yeah, for your tens of fans and your I get, like, everybody wants to believe that they're putting fans in the stands, but I'm sorry, but the odds of us with our social media presence honestly attracting a large new audience to the Highland Games community is not significant. You're not moving the needle that much. People that go to Highland Games to become fans of the athletics are already people that go to Highland Games. So if you want to truly promote the sport, maybe don't worry so much about promoting yourself. And when you're on the sidelines and you see a kid, or you see, if someone that's a spectator is watching and has questions, and you spend a few minutes like really getting to know them as a human being for a second, that makes the kind of impact that's going to draw people in over time. Because you might get one person or two people to show up through being flamboyant in your social media, but when you want to have intergenerational type commitment to the games, which is what I grew up with, which was seeing generations of people that came up going to these festivals, especially in the Carolinas, that comes from authentic relationships. That doesn't come from your PR campaign. So that's my 2 cents on that, however unpopular that opinion may be.
It's only unpopular to like 2 people, so I think everyone gets that.
Yeah, but it's been a different perspective, like disappearing for essentially 8 years and then coming back, because I'm not the same person.
Yeah.
like while I was gone, man, I did a theology program, did a master's in theological studies. I was training to become a military chaplain at one point. I did homeless ministry, prison ministry, helped some law enforcement officers in chaplaincy. My perspective's not what it was. It's very different.
Grow. Hopefully we grow.
Well, you can either grow into a bigger jerk or a smaller jerk as you get older, and I'd rather grow into a smaller jerk, because I know I've been a bigger jerk when I was younger.
That's I think the move that everyone should try to do.
Yeah, but I mean,
what? So when you were doing that, the prison ministry, what was that difficult, or did you find it like
being ex-law enforcement and starting my career as a detention officer fighting inmates? It was incredibly difficult, because like my vigilance was hardcore when I walked in there the first day. I'm just like, am I gonna have to crack a head? But I did it with a ecumenical, which is just a fancy way of saying like a whole bunch of different denominations. It's a group called Kairos Prison Ministries. We did several weeks in preparation, and then we did like a 4-day weekend at a state prison in North Carolina, and it was crazy. Like seeing the body language and demeanor of these guys when they first walked in, because I'd seen it 1,000 times in my career, like the scared peacock offender walk that, I don't mess with me because I'm the meanest guy here, I'll cut you kind of stuff. And it's like by the third or fourth day, these guys are like singing gospel songs together and have their arms around each other, and they're crying, and you just see these people like release this energy. And I had a bunch of friends that were law enforcement that were like, hey man, don't you think there's some cops you could help? And I was like, brother, I don't think you get it. I am helping cops, because when these guys get out, they're going to know an ex-cop came in here and did this with them.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they'll hate you less next time.
Yeah.
Because they hated us. To us, we were the enemy.
Maybe they won't reoffend, because
that was my only thing. Yeah. That's it. And there's like one of my favorite scriptures is from the book of James, and it's for a man to know to do good and do it not, to him it is sin. In the Catholic faith, they talk about informed conscience. So once someone has been made aware of what they're doing and they truly are forced to sit with it, that's the only time that they can truly change. And there's a reason the Bible talked about, visiting people in prison and when they're at their lowest point, because when, we're still prideful and we still think we're number one, we're not ready to surrender to a higher power to help us. And when you catch these people at their lowest points and you sit with them, and you don't have to be there, they know you don't have to be there, and you're there talking with them, you're letting them vent, you're encouraging them when to take advantage of the programs that are in there, that they can have a future when they get out. Because sadly, a lot of these guys have kids, and it's like, I know my criminal justice stuff very well because I spent time in that profession, and there is such a thing as intergenerational trauma. There is such a thing as a school to prison pipeline. And I mean, a lot of these guys were teens and 20s. These are the same age offenders as the athletes I spoke to on mental health earlier this year. I mean, whether they're in football uniforms or jumpsuits, I mean, one wrong mistake, they could have been in either seat at different times when I met with them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good work.
Well, I didn't do it forever. I did it for a while I was trying to work through my stuff, but
yeah,
left a lasting impact. I still view myself as a chaplain to an extent. I joke. I said one of the guys I met at the church here in town, he was asking about all this chaplain stuff back in the day, and I joked with him. I said, yeah, I used to tell people I was a drinking, fighting, cussing chaplain, but I'll still pray with you if you need me. So,
yeah.
But the roughneck guys tend to do better with me. Big tattooed guy going in there talking with them. I mean, I looked younger than most of the people that did the prison ministry stuff were 25, 30 years older than me. So I was the closest to their age when I went in there. I would encourage anybody to do one of those weekends just to get a different perspective. Like, absolutely help our first responders and our veterans, for God's sakes. I'm not saying to go to prison ministry in lieu of that. I mean,
yeah.
But it's very humbling when
you're. I was going to say, just because you're helping one person does not mean you're not helping another.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Merle and I used to talk about was like I give him a lot of credit for the things I learned from him when I was in law enforcement that started shifting my perspective. Like, you pour into one person, and you be a true friend and mentor to one person in your lifetime. there's a ripple effect to that. You've impacted countless lives. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there is no way on God's green earth that had I not become friends with Merle Lawless, that I would have ended up in front of a room full of 150 plus people talking to them about the things I was talking to them about, to educate them and prepare them for life. That ripple effect of that got cascaded to that audience because of one person, befriending someone. And we have a habit, I think, in a Western culture of trying to quantify everything. It's like a corporate America thing, like more revenue, bigger numbers, bigger this. I mean, even churches do it. Like, they want more seats and they want bigger buildings and all this other stuff. I'm like, that's great, but like, and I'm not even super religious, but it's like discipleship is just pouring into one person at a time. So like, just be there for one person, and that might be your one person for the rest of your life. Like, it could be your kid, it could be a neighbor's kid, it could be a homeless guy in the community, could be a police officer, a veteran of post-traumatic stress, or a firefighter. I mean, could be some lonely dude at the bar at the dive you like to go to for the wings. I mean, that you don't know who that person's going to be, and I think those are the little God winks that set us up to make those ripples that we hope to make, but we may never fully see the impact of.
Yeah.
We're supposed to talk about Highland Games, right?
We talk about everything. There's a.
Yeah.
I think this is probably more impactful than talking about the rules of Quidditch from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Because that's come up a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say it's more valuable because that's a perfectly valid conversation to have. But
yeah, it's just like I guess going back to the earlier part of the conversation, it's I'm going to quote a book, or paraphrase a book written years ago by a guy I interviewed on my podcast, August Turek. I never say it right. But he wrote a book called Business Secrets of the Trappist Monks. And when we think about, like, what is the product of Highland Games, like the heavy athletics, our product is giving back to the festival so that it can continue to flourish, right? Like, we put on a good show where we're fun to watch, but we're also polite and respectful and all that fun stuff, and it leaves a good impression on people. But what he said in his book was that authentic people make authentic products. Authentic products don't need to be marketed, they market themselves. So I think, like, the more authentically people go into the games, and the Highland Games, but go into the Highland Games without the games, if you get what I'm saying, the better and greater impact they'll have on the survival of some of these festivals that struggle to get sponsors, because there's that old, like, adage, like, they talk about law of attraction and all that nonsense, but I mean, it really is true. Like, our actions magnetize the things that we seek. And like, if we're being flamboyant, or we're being abrasive, or we're being whatever, well, that's the kind of sponsors that are going to be attracted to the sport. Fringe, roughneck type things. If it's viewed as a very wholesome, growth-oriented thing where when people leave the festival, their lives are impacted, sometimes bigger brands are going to want to invest in that. And that's what's going to help with these budgets, in my opinion. It's not bragging about how good you are on social media. It's going to be building people up on the field, and not just the people you're competing with, but did you encourage someone in the crowd did you connect them with the AD if they had an interest in the sport? Did you introduce them to the local throwing group? Did you know where I'm going with that? I mean,
yeah.
Did you thank them for coming out and having fun and watching? Like, it's simple human stuff, but I think we get wrapped up in our own delusions of how good we are at something that we forget that it's a blessing to be able to do something you enjoy and people care enough to watch and applaud.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm getting preachy.
No, that's good. I like that. What was that book called?
Business Secrets of the Trappist Monks. I've actually been to the monastery and spent time with one of the monks because it's in Mebkin Abbey, which is just north of Charleston, South Carolina. So it's only about 2 hours, 15 minutes or so from me. But that was kind of cool. I had read that book years and years and years and years ago, and I finally just said, screw it, I'm going to the monastery. And I went and visited, and I was like, can I meet a monk? They're like, not without an appointment. So they gave me an email. I emailed the senior monk and got to spend time with him. I hung out with him, talked. We did a teleconference. I still have his cell phone number. Yeah, monks have cell phones. Yeah.
What kind of monks were they?
Trappist.
Oh, I'm not sure what Trappist is.
I'm not entirely sure what.
Is it like a Buddhist type or?
Oh, and they're Catholic. I'm sorry.
Oh, they're Catholic. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They're Catholic. I thought you were asking like what.
No.
What saint that they followed or. No, I can't remember that part. But no, these are Catholic monks. Basically, they're Catholic. Some are Catholic priests ordained, and some are just lay people that want to live that way. But they're very cute, very cool people, very beautiful gardens, and you read the book, you go visit it. It's pretty cool, and it's just. It's that whole perspective thing.
Yeah. I didn't realize Catholics had monks. I knew like Orthodox had monks and Buddhists and Taoists and things like that.
Yeah, they all make a product. So I think at one point the Mebkin Abbey monks did like they raised chickens, and then PETA got after them, and they're like, we don't want to deal with this. So they started growing these like delicacy type mushrooms there. Some monasteries make beer, but one of the things that the author talks about in the book is that anywhere you go where there's a monastery, the local community supports it. They don't have to worry about marketing their products because they live the manufacture of their products. Like it's part of their prayerful life, so they even the smallest detail they try to do it to the best of their ability, even if it's like sweeping the floor. Like it's crazy, good crazy.
Yeah, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pivot back to Highland Games a little bit.
Sure.
So in your 20 some odd years doing this, like, do you have what do you? It's not 20 years.
Well, we have to subtract 8, so like 18,
okay.
18ish, because I took an 8-year hiatus.
Well,
26 years ago I started, but
you've been familiar with this for quite a while, and you've been involved for quite a while. Do you have like any kind of like moments that like you were that like kind of like rise above the rest? In terms of like something you've accomplished or seen that you think about, like that was kind of like a crowning moment for you in the sport. I mean, that's kind of
2010
okay.
Celtic. It's probably two major things. 2010 Celtic Classic. I was in the police academy, and the director of the academy let me out to travel. He's not supposed to do that. I had to make the hours up for the class time I missed, but he was a sergeant major in the Marine Corps as a reserve guy, and he was a local cop, so he was just like, and he was our CrossFit instructor and training. So he was like my police academy strength coach, so he let me go. But I ended up going to Celtic, and I'd lost so much weight training all that endurance stuff. I mean, I went from like 3 something down to 265, 270 again. and I showed up at Celtic and hit pretty strong numbers. I hit like 48 feet in the heavyweight, but I battled it out with Dan McKim, and I was winning the competition going into the last event, which is the 28 for distance. And like I always loved Dan, so I was just like, I look at Dan and I'm like, Dan, you know, if you get your hips down more going into the second turn and just sit a little more and gather, it'll help you sprint and you'll hit a better power position. In the middle of the competition, I tell him that. He hits a PR, and I lose the national championship by a half a point. But, yeah, but would I rather have the title, or would I rather see my friend go on to be the 5-time world champion?
Right.
I'll take that. I'll take second to a guy like that, you know? Like, I'm cool with that. And then the following year, probably one of my last really good games before getting hurt at Celtic in 2011 was Grandfather Mountain. The day they buried my grandfather, it was Grandfather Mountain, and I went and competed, and I didn't speak to anybody the whole day. I was in my own head. I was praying the whole day, trying not to cry. I threw like a madman all day. Like,
yeah.
And there's a picture of me on the internet that was taken that day, and I was so intense the entire day, wouldn't speak. A photographer there took a picture of me, and he called it like the Intimidator, because I was so like intense. And it's a picture of me like warming up in the caber. It's just my back, and you can see my tattoos. He entered it into an art, like a photography festival, and won it. And then he sent me a big copy of it. But it was just like, day my grandfather dies, I'm throwing at grandfather, or the day not dies, but the day's buried, I'm throwing at Grandfather Mountain. So I get home that night, and I get back to my brother's house, and the family's doing the wake. They knew why I was there, and that's where I needed to be that day to grieve. And I came back with the trophy, the big Grandfather Mountain plate, and I handed it to my Aunt Rhonda, and she just started sobbing. But like that was a pretty intense memory, I guess. But
yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I set a bunch of world records when I was younger, a bunch of amateurs records, and I threw a bunch of throws over 120 in the heavy hammer back in the day, but those aren't
nuts.
But it's weird, like in hindsight, those aren't my proudest moments.
Yeah.
Like my proudest moment was there was another prison ministry I helped with called Free and Forgiven, and we were with, like, it was all a gang unit. So there were members of the Bloods, the Crips, you name it, were in there. MS-13. There were outlaw biker gangs. There were white supremacists in there. And at the end of that weekend, one of the white supremacist guys had given his Bible to one of the African American guys and apologized to him for his hatred.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like you see stuff like that. Like, I guarantee you everybody was dehydrated after that, because like the guy that received the Bible, he went up and he was sobbing, telling everybody what happened, and then everybody in the room lost it. And like when you see like people really change, like you see them have that aha moment, like that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I guess when you have like moments like that, throwing a 124 heavy hammer like just isn't the biggest thing in your life.
Yeah. But I mean, like, don't get me wrong though, like when your nervous system's firing and you hit that flow state and your body just lets you move gracefully and fast, and you can't even imagine screwing the moment up, basically. Like you're not thinking about technique or anything, you're disappearing in the moment, like, and the implement's doing the work, and you're just you're just holding on, like you're sharing that moment, I guess, like, and then you let go and it pulls the air out of your lungs because so much energy went into the implement. Like those are, it's not how far the implement goes, it's that feeling you get when you're the essence of your being got dialed in for you to be able to do the best you've ever done that day. Like, and I don't care what your level is, like that's the most addicting thing about being an athlete.
Yeah, you hit that on the head there. That's that's it, dude.
Yeah. So yeah,
but, that's great. We are coming up on time.
all right.
Do you have anything you want to add? Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Don't take for granted the ability to do something you love, and if you got something going on in your life that's clouding your judgment and making you think that this thing you love is no longer something you love, it's probably not true. It's probably something else you need to deal with in your life, and go get help for it. So I would encourage anybody. I mean, we have a lot of issues with mental health in the United States: depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, suicidal ideation, all that stuff. Like, the absolute worst thing you can do when you start feeling like gloomy is to pull away from something you love with people that you love. So I would just say, like, stay involved. If you feel like things are getting to that point, just lean on your friends and lean on your community, and they're going to pull you through it. That's my thing, man. Just don't ever take something as special as a Highland Game community for granted, because you don't know what impact you're gonna make on others in your life because of the impact it's had on you. That's my 2 cents there.
Awesome. All right. Well, before we go, I got to plug my games. October 18th, the Free State Highland Games in Lawrence, Kansas. Sign up on heavyathlete.com. We're building it. It's getting big. The clans are coming. The vendors are coming. So now it's your guys' turn as the athletes to sign up. All classes still have room available, so sign up. Don't wait till like the very end. I know the registration goes until like October 11th. Let's not wait that long, just for my own peace of mind, guys. But that's all I got. Thanks for watching, Eric. Thanks for coming on. And that's it, man. Throw far. God bless.